been years since I made my first video on bots and groupthink and tribalism, but clearly this is a topic that we need to revisit. Recently, something happened in my home country of Romania that I feel a responsibility to share with my audience, and I've also been noticing a huge uptick of using bots as a marketing strategy, including on my very own channel. Bots are incredibly dangerous. Not only are they a deceptive marketing strategy, essentially fraud, I believe they are increasingly being used by governments as psychological warfare. And warfare has always evolved with the technology available. Back in the day, people fought with swords, then with firearms, then with the threat of nuclear destruction. And now that we use social media is the easiest playground for governments to use as warfare. And the reason bot campaigns are so effective is that they prey on our very human vulnerabilities. This is something that's extremely important for us to talk about, so let's talk about it. So let me start by talking first about bots as a deceptive marketing strategy, which I've seen a huge uptick of, and then I will talk about bots as psychological warfare, which recently happened in my country. Recently, I was watching a video by a dermatology doctor on YouTube, and I clicked on the comments, as I sometimes do during the video, and I noticed that the top comment, which had 1,800 likes, said the following: "Besides sunscreen, why focus on endless products when microneedling can delay aging and reverse so much? No treatment I've tried has been as effective as the high-quality dermapen I got for around $100. And at first glance, I thought, microneedling is really so great for anti-aging? That's kind of surprising to me because I have my own dermapen. I've used it and I haven't really noticed any major differences. And I also just heard another doctor talking about how the collagen benefits of using microneedling aren't permanent. But then my immediate thought was this: well, if so many people agree with this statement, there must be some truth to it. Let me keep reading this comment exchange because clearly the secret to anti-aging lies in this discussion. And that right there is why bots are so dangerous. They weaponize our cognitive errors and tribalistic heuristics, these shortcuts that we make to understand what is truth based on what our group is saying is the truth. We think that if a lot of people are saying something, there must be truth to it. More on that in a second, but for now, let's just keep reading this comment exchange. Could you tell us which dermapen you used, please? Original commenter responds: "Thank you. And the name of the pen? The pen you're talking about is Cora Beauticals V2, right?" Now, interestingly, when you click on this person's profile picture, you can see all their recent comments on this channel. And gosh, it seems like they've been copying and pasting on multiple videos on this channel. Yep, that's the one. Another person pitches in then. +1 for Cora. I started doing microneedling since it started 12 or so years ago. No one can believe I'm 55. They all say I'm in my late 30s or early 40s. I assume it works so well because when we get older, our skin gets thinner and therefore creating wrinkles. But the wounding kept my skin still thick and youthful. And same thing, you click on this person's page and you see that they've been giving instructions on how to use this product on multiple videos. In fact, there are quite a few accounts in that comment exchange where people are giving their testimonials on how and why this miracle product has worked wonders for them. So I decided to Google this product to see what the hype is about. And what do you know, as soon as I typed the name of this product into Google, my security system gave me the following alert: multiple threats secured, URL fake shop, threat type malware, dangerous website blocked. This website may contain malicious code that could harm your Mac. We strongly recommend you don't access it. And apparently there are also a lot of threads popping up on Reddit too, with people boasting about this product. Other people have even started to notice it. For instance, this one person says, "I've found loads of threads on this device, but I'm now becoming rather suspicious as most of the threads have comments from brand new accounts saying how amazing the device is. It seems it's being shilled all over YouTube and Reddit comment sections. So I'm interested to see if anyone has any legitimate experience with this device or if it's something people should steer clear of. If you respond to this thread and your profile is brand new or has a history of spamming about this device, I will call it out and report it." And then the moderator of this thread said the spam bots took this thread down too and a whole bunch of the comments. Send the mods a message if it happens again so we can put it back up. This is what Scam Advisor has to say about this company. Cora Beauticals has a relatively low trust score. The owner of the website is using a service to hide their identity on Whois. According to Tranco, the site has a low rank. The registrar has a high percentage of spammers and fraud sites. This website has received mainly negative reviews, and this website uses link shortening. But I haven't noticed this on just other people's channels. It's actually been happening on my channel too. Particularly, I'd like to give a very warm shout out to whoever has been spamming my comment section in every single video to promote their ebook Magnetic Aura. In fact, if I were to venture a guess, they will probably leave a comment on this video too. No matter what the video topic, there are always a handful of comments promoting this book, and one of them in particular always has an exorbitant amount of likes that pushes it to the top of my comments list. For example, "You're missing out if you ain't read Magnetic Aura by Takeshi Mizuki, it breaks it all down." You go and click this person's account, it seems they joined YouTube a month ago. "Don't waste your energy on weak stuff, Magnetic Aura by Takeshi Mizuki is the real move." The same exact comment as the other one I read says, "You're missing out if you ain't read Magnetic Aura by Takeshi Mizuki, it breaks it all down." This person also joined YouTube a month ago. Stuck on repeat, Magnetic Aura by Takeshi Mizuki actually changes the game. This person also opened their account a month ago. Now I looked up this Magnetic Aura on YouTube to see who is behind these bots, and there's an account called Magnetic Aura ebook which contains trust-inspiring video titles such as "Top 3 Banned Books of All Time," "Increase Your Attraction Instantly," and "Is Cheating Really That Bad?" I get really no sense of who is really behind this ebook because obviously they won't put their face and probably not even their real name behind this account. But when you click on the videos posted by this account, you again see a ton of comments talking about how this book changed their life. "Just started reading and I'm already hooked. This book is different. This account, 5 months old. Wasn't sure at first, but this book is a life-altering experience. This account is 5 months old. If you're looking for real change, start with this book. It's a game changer. This account is 4 months old. Picked up Magnetic Aura out of curiosity. Ended up being one of the best decisions ever. This account is 6 months old. This book is full of practical advice that actually works. Don't miss out. This account is 5 months old." So the oldest account I could find testifying as to this life-altering book is 10 months old, with the vast majority of counts averaging around 5 months old. And it's so interesting when you look at this Magnetic Aura ebook YouTube account, that was also created 5 months ago. What a coinky dinky. Now, why are scammers trying to use this marketing strategy? If the author themselves were to come out and say these things, "This book is a game changer, it's different, it's one of the top 3 banned books in the world," even though nobody's heard of it would be easier for people to recognize that this is a scam. But because bots make us believe other people are saying these things, and because we see a large quantity of people saying the same things, giving these dramatic testimonials, we're more tempted to believe them. This is our psychological limitation. Evolutionarily, it makes sense why we would believe the masses. First of all, we have an expression in Romanian, "Dacă toată lumea spune că ești beat, tu trebuie să te culci." If everyone is telling you that you're drunk, go to sleep. Basically, we have blind spots that we can't see. So if everyone is giving us the same exact feedback, it sometimes behooves us to listen to them. Back in the day, it may have been a matter of survival. Like if everybody in your tribe is saying, "Hey, don't go into that part of the jungle, there's a lion there," then, maybe don't go into that side of the jungle. But also, groupthink and echo chambers allow us to stay in the in-group's good graces. If we can believe the same thing that everybody else is saying, then we're less likely to be expelled from the in-group. And if we're expelled from the in-group and we're isolated, we don't have other resources, other support, we are more vulnerable, we are less likely to survive. So we evolved as human beings to trust whatever a large quantity of people are saying, to assume that there must be some truth to it without properly assessing the evidence for ourselves. It's a heuristic, a mental shortcut that's meant to keep us alive. And now scammers are targeting the psychological weakness to market their scams. But there is a far, far more insidious side to bots than just deceptive marketing. And that is that we live in an era where governments have learned the same lessons, and they're using those lessons to wreak havoc in other countries. Bot campaigns are very quickly becoming a method of psychological warfare, created to cause misinformation and to destabilize and infiltrate foreign governments. And this is where I need to talk about what just happened in my home country of Romania. So recently I visited home, and Romania had just had its second to last round of presidential elections. One of the runoffs was center-right small-town mayor Elena Lasconi, which was to be expected, but the other one was a man hardly anyone had heard of named Călin Georgescu. Now, Georgescu hadn't participated in any big debates, he doesn't belong to any political party, he barely registered in the national opinion polls, and hardly anyone knew his name a month ago. In fact, when the news broke out that he had gotten into the last round of the presidential elections, most people were shocked and were looking around like, do you know who this guy is? No, do you know who this guy is? So how was someone that hardly anyone had heard of suddenly in the last round of presidential elections? It doesn't seem to be voter fraud. These seem to be legitimate votes. A little bit about the mystery man. He's far right. He's criticized the EU, which Romania is a part of, but if it weren't, it would make it extremely vulnerable to Russian influence. He's anti-NATO, which Romania is also a part of, but if it weren't, it would make it extremely vulnerable to Russian influence. Yeah, Ukraine, our neighbors up north, similar situation there. He has wonderful things to say about Putin and Trump. He's praised anti-Semitic nationalists from the World War II era, and he endorses conspiracy theories, such as being anti-vax, saying COVID doesn't exist, and the only real science is Jesus Christ. According to sources I will cite in the description of this video, in the final 2 weeks before the November 24 first round of the presidential election, some 25,000 pro-Georgescu TikTok accounts burst into action. The president received evidence from the secret intelligence services indicating that both state and non-state actors had interfered in the election and named Russia as responsible for a series of aggressive hybrid attacks. The United States upheld findings of Russian involvement. Secret files alleged that Georgescu had unlawfully benefited from extensive electoral promotion during periods when campaigning was prohibited. The documents alleged his campaign had received foreign financial support, despite the fact that he declared he'd spent nothing on it. As for the means by which Georgescu pulled this off, the answer appears clear: TikTok. His campaign was entirely online. He did not even have a traditional campaign HQ or press conference, with an overwhelming focus on the Chinese-owned social media platform. The press has now found that behind Georgescu, there appears to have been an entire network of volunteers, often organized via Telegram, running thousands of coordinated TikTok accounts designed to boost each other's posts, i.e. Georgescu's short promo videos. Still, there is a great deal of mystery over exactly how all this worked. Georgescu's TikTok metrics are inferior to his three key adversaries, for example. There were 145 million views this year for Georgescu's main hashtags compared to 396 million for Simeon's, 328 million for Ciolacu, and 202 million for Lasconi. One difference is that the bulk of Georgescu's TikTok views and followers accrued within the past 2 months. Coupled with other indicators, it seems rather clear that so-called troll farms have been at work on his behalf to spread his message. But it is not clear whether this practice is unique to Georgescu or whether it has been used to varying degrees by his opponents as well. And the CEO of TikTok was even called to the European Parliament to explain what the hell happened. So what now? Romanian presidential elections have been annulled and postponed. And in the meantime, criminal investigators have launched an inquiry into the cyber attacks on election infrastructure, which were detailed in the declassified intelligence files. This is the third investigation opened by Romanian prosecutors after the general prosecutor launched 2 others looking at voter corruption, computer system fraud, and campaign money laundering of at least 1 million euros. Plus, the investigation also focuses on cybercrimes under the jurisdiction of standard prosecutorial offices. These involve the creation and use of fake online accounts designed to influence voter preferences, actions that may have compromised the fairness of the electoral process. I am extremely proud of my country for catching this foreign tampering with their elections. Other countries have not been as good at catching it, or rather doing something about it. And I think that's because in Romania, we have a very long-standing history with Russia. We know what we're up against. We know the risks of what will happen if we are under Russian influence again. Other countries are, I think, completely out of their element. They have no idea what they're up against. But this problem isn't going away anytime soon. We know that presidential elections, receiving slaps on the wrist or receiving criminal investigations doesn't always mean they won't end up in power. So I personally am concerned about what will happen if Călin Georgescu is ever allowed to run again, because now that these crimes have been alleged against him, there are those who will say, oh, well, he's such a victim. He's such a martyr. I have to vote for him because clearly the deep state doesn't want me to. And even if it doesn't happen with him specifically, bots aren't going away as psychological warfare. It's extremely obvious to me as a doctor of psychology that there are psychologists being used by foreign governments to help perfect the art of psychological manipulation via social media. If this sounds conspirational to you, it shouldn't. In fact, the whole reason why the do no harm rule was built into the American Psychological Association's guidelines for ethics is that in the past, American psychologists have consulted the US government on how to best torture people. Yeah. So if it's happened in the US, it's not that outlandish that it would be happening in other countries too, that psychologists are being used to weaponize psychological knowledge against the masses. If anything, bots are just going to keep being perfected so that people find it harder and harder to tell who's a bot and who's not. Accounts will be kept around for years, not suddenly pop up out of the blue. They'll start participating in other communities too to seem like real people. They'll talk in more nuanced human ways to seem like they're not completely partisans. And I simply do not understand why in the year 2024, countries like the US aren't, to my knowledge, building up teams of psychologists to help counteract this type of warfare. We need to immediately start researching under what conditions people are most vulnerable to groupthink and trusting unreliable sources of information, and to create and implement policies that will help educate the masses and prevent this warfare from being effective. We're living in unprecedented times where malintentioned people are using bots for things like marketing scams, PR smear campaigns, and even political tampering with elections. We need to all be aware of this, and we need to do something about it like yesterday.